Around the Table with Vickie. Just like gathering around the dinner table with loved ones and friends, we're here to share stories, insight, and inspiration. For those of you that are believers, you know that we're always being challenged with our faith.
Yeah.
Like there are forces of evil that, gather around people that are really doing great things. And, we have to be on constant guard to just be able to pray that God protects us from those forces and that the angels are around us, making sure that, we're being protected. And anytime you're in a service industry to where you're servicing others, especially in healthcare, you're only going to hear the bad. Mm-hmm.
And there will always be people that don't like you. I tell you all the time. I mean, not everybody loves the pastor.
Mm-hmm.
You don't love your sermon.
I really want people to like me, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I really struggle with that.
And I think they do.
So what I'm hearing you saying is being an entrepreneur may not be for everyone. You got to have some thick skin. You got to be able to ebb and flow and go with the ups and the downs. So on that note, what are some traits that would help make a successful entrepreneur?
You got to be a risk taker for one. I think if you're not, there's a difference between a risk taker and a gambler. I don't think you need to be a gambler rolling the dice and say whatever, but I think you need to be a risk taker to know that, nothing comes without some effort and some risk with things.
I think you have to be overall just a great leader. I mean, and there's great books and authors out there that has great faces on leadership. And leadership isn't always somebody that speaks the loudest or is the showiest of them all. They're the quiet, humble people that are working behind the scenes, that are making that, business be what it needs to be for those others to stand up and take credit for. Being a leader sometimes means you sit in the background, especially in the first years of your business. You can't always be out there taking credit for everything, because 9 times out of 10, it's those employees that are making who you are,
right.
Especially the face of business, because you better be in the office working. You better be in there crunching the numbers, figuring out which account you're going to move this to there and how much you're going to give to this and how much you're going to hold back till the next month. You're not going to be on the front line of your business. And so, being a good leader is something I think that just overshadows everything.
Especially with scale, as your business grows, what you're trying to do is cast the vision, cast the culture, and that ability to lead is super critical as the scale of your business changes.
Speaking of vision and looking into the future, what are your current ventures and what excites you the most about them?
So healthcare, of course, is the primary business that we have. And then we have the hospitality business and the golf business. We are, looking towards the future. Our industry is driven on numbers and stats, and when it's time to create more beds within our industry. We recently just obtained Valley View Retirement Community, which was built in 1989. I actually watched that building go up and was very envious of it back in the day, because we started in 1992, and I was just so humbled to now have that in our care community, business and what we do. And so having said all that, we have really great people here at Runk and Pratt that are watching the numbers, watching the industry as a whole, and gives us some insight as to when it's time, when the baby boomers, which we may be the baby boomers.
We are right on the beginning.
So I might be creating a space for both of us.
For you, not for me.
No, it will be for you. But just knowing when that time is here. We have a wonderful facility that we would love to build here in town before it's all said and done. But there's a time to do that, and it's when the industry, of course, is going to demand more beds. And we know in our business that it's going to come a time that that's needed. And, of course, with the hospitality, it's always great to see everybody in our venues having weddings or companies coming in and renting the space for Christmas parties or special trainings. It's always nice to drive by all those venues and just see them being used. That's always exciting for us. And for golf, my goodness, again, you and your brother have just done an enormous job at pushing us in front. And it's so much fun. We just had close to 8,000 people, right, Christopher? Light up the lawn and watching families. I mean, Brian, I know that's one of the things you said you love, just seeing the children. But Brian, you were saying that it was just like those early years of us envisioning what we wanted to use that property for, and that beautiful driving range, and is kind of like our front lawn.
Yeah.
Where we live right there on it, and being immersed in that whole thing of community. And you talked about us being people person. I mean, your dad really should be the politician. He loves to be in the crowd. I kind of get away from the crowds a bit. I get overwhelmed, but he loves to be like, I think he could be one of those people that you lift up and just,
pass him through the crowd.
I could do the wave
Crowd
and just go through the crowd.
No, you could do crowd surfing.
I'd be good at that, yeah.
And he would love
he
every
was
minute
in the
of
center
it.
of the event. Yeah.
But we do love people, and we let spending that kind of money to bring everybody together to celebrate our wonderful country. And so many people have lost sight in the fact with the politics that we have the greatest country in the world. And so just bringing highlight to the fact that we want to celebrate America, and we want to celebrate everything America stands for: family, tradition, lifestyle of freedom. I mean, those are the things we want people to remember. And so that's our way of giving back to the community. I love events like that. I love for our family to be immersed in all of that. We're just super excited about the future of Runk and Pratt Companies. And again, you never know when we're going to pop up on which end of the town. And I remember the day that you came down the staircase and you said, Mom, we're going to have the world's I didn't know what that was. And you said, it's like having the Olympics. I'm like, oh. And you said, we beat out Finland. And I'm like, the country Finland? So that's something you kind of did on your own. And we're super proud as parents, number one, of you and your ability to lead in that division. But yes, how cool is it for Lynchburg?
Great, yeah.
We actually went out on the course whenever they were practicing, and your dad thought it looked so easy. So we handed him a disc, and he tried, of course, and it is very, very difficult.
You didn't give me enough time. I wasn't warmed up. I just need to be warmed up.
No, I don't think it's your calling.
There's a big difference between throwing just a Frisbee in the yard and then throwing.
I mean, back in the day, I was a good Frisbee thrower, but back in the day, I guess.
Yeah.
So what other business ventures may you be interested in the future?
I think we've always wanted to, on the hospitality side, food's always been a big factor of that, even the senior living, besides care, it's activities and food. So food's been a big piece of what we do. Comes back to, the thing that we've always lacked is the person that could take you there, the person that had the skill set to do that.
Yes.
And we just never had that. We've tried and never, so we've always stayed away from that because restaurants are just, they're just tough at times. And so we've been blessed, but we hired a chef here recently that has an incredible team that has come in, and it's amazing how quickly it's evolved. That the hotels,
and that was another situation to where we didn't really have the job ready, but he was ready.
Yeah.
So we just brought the team on,
trained them. The new restaurant Tory Blue that's at the hotel just
opened last week.
Just opened this past weekend, and he's done a great job with that. When we did Let It the Lawn, his team, serviced all 7,500 people that were there and did great. So we have aspirations of being able to maybe look at some more restaurant pieces. Folks have always loved Bella Rose. We looking at converting the mill into a.
And what's so nice about the restaurant ideas that we have is it's very much connected to our family. And one of the things we've always loved to do is to have great food. And that's actually how I can get you guys to go on trips with me that you don't want to go to.
It's true. You give me a good prime rib, I'll go anywhere.
Yeah. So we have been personally involved in developing these menus, casting a vision, and leading in that role. And so far, the response that we've gotten has been extremely positive and unlike anything Lynchburg has seen, which is, again, when you're going to develop something and you're going to add something to your program, it needs to be something very different and unique.
But to that point, I don't think without having the chef that we have, it's not something that we could have done, and we've held off doing it. So again, there comes a timing factor. You may have a desire, a great concept, but if you don't have the right people to take you there, it really doesn't do you any good. Mm-hmm. And so we've always held off on that kind of thing until we had the right people, the right team. And not only did we find a chef, but again, his team came with him. So we have that. And so it makes the possibility of doing more things in the food world more of a reality. And so we do have some ideas of some new restaurants. Lord knows the area needs a few new food places. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited about the growth with the golf course, the World Disc Golf Championship that's happening. You've done such a great job with that, and you know, I think that as we continue, you know, in the only thing that's ever been you know, that came from COVID that's good, as I say, is golf, because it really did help both of our golf courses. COVID really took that to the next level. Golf has been a good thing for us. I mean, I think ultimately, in our brand, we're all driven by seniors, and as you age, one of the things you can still always do is you can play golf. So, you know, our golf courses have done well, so we're looking for more improvements there and continue to improve with that. Our youngest son, Chandler, that's his passion, and it's great to see his passion and the things that he's seeing happening with that, and buying into that and owning that kind of piece as well. So I'm excited about really the food elements of the growth of our company. The new location that we just got on the senior living, I think it's going to be a great piece to add onto the team, and then to continue to see where, you know, golf evolves to. There's all kinds of little great ideas, and we just try to take little pieces every year to try to add to it to, you know, make that better and better.
We're also building a golf village called Avalace that's hooked right there to the golf course. It's primarily geared for, you know, the
55 and older.
55 and
It's a
older
housing
complex,
right,
and we're building. We have 150 home sites that we are currently still in phase one. But the minute that we go to turn a pad, they sell immediately, and so we've been able to just get to know a lot of really great people that are moving from all over the country.
Yeah, really are.
Whether it's Liberty or family that they're moving here for. And so, you know, creating that golf retirement mode is something that has, you know, come our way that is super exciting.
Right. So we're excited about, you know, those kind of opportunities for the future.
Can you share a memorable or funny story from your entrepreneurial journey that stands out to each of you?
I'm going to let you go first on that one, because that's a tough one.
For me, I mean, this is very easy for me to answer. It's been recent, but anybody that knows me knows that I've been passionate about senior living related issues to where we can help our seniors live longer and healthier and happier lives. And so I have been pretty much preaching to the choir with anybody in city or state government that would listen to me. And our newest governor, Governor Youngkin, was kind enough to come to our home, and we did an event for him. And he gave us about 30 minutes in our foyer to where I was able to just lay out my heart with what I saw going on in senior living in the state of Virginia. And again, it comes from me being an expert, right? I've been doing this for 32 years. I've watched how their care is funded for those that don't have a really nice, healthy savings account, and how families have to chip in and take care of mom and dad. And I just really have a strong passion that we as a state can do better. And so because of some of my sharing with him about our passion for our industry, he was able to go back this year and increase the auxiliary grant to the highest level that it's ever been pushed. And I like to think that I had just a tiny little part in that. And so that was a highlight of my career. I had worked all these years to try to make changes, and I'm really excited, too, about the opportunity that just that moment might have for me. And then I was able to go to the State House and spend some time with the First Lady on our passion for Alzheimer's and dementia, and having the opportunity to sit in that great hall and my voice being echoed in those chambers where so many presidents that have been governors of our great state was formed, and their thoughts were formed about our declaration, about how Virginia is, you know, serviced. It was a highlight for me. I know you guys went with me, and we took some pictures out in front of the governor's mansion before the morning hit that I would go in, and it was an opportunity afforded to me through the state level of the Alzheimer's Association. And I didn't realize how much it was going to mean to me until I started speaking, and I could hear my voice echoing in those halls. And knowing that I was there lobbying for more funding for Alzheimer's and dementia, for families that were hurting, and for lives that could be forever changed, for more funding. Realizing that I had a tiny little part in history was just the highlight for me. All these years I've worked, and being able to be given that opportunity, I'll just never forget it. I left out of there a changed person, knowing that voices matter. And when you say something that matters, it can forever change history.
Well said.
So, Dad, are there any memorable moments throughout your journey?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any one that stands out. I think this year for
Or a
us,
project that you?
I think the new project that we just got with Willow Ridge. Was probably the seventh or eighth day of January that we got. We get emails all the time, either people wanting to buy us or somebody selling something, and so. Got this email that came across my desk of a facility for sale. Usually they're in Kansas or Missouri, wherever, but this one happened to be in Lynchburg, and it caught my eye, and called you and made a couple calls after that, and man, in 6 months we just closed maybe 6-7 days ago. But the process, in your career of what we've done, this process was the smoothest, the best. When you check all the boxes and you want things to fit in correctly, I think the folks that were there were anxious about us coming. We had 2 family meetings, and the residents, people were excited about it. It's exciting when you're growing, but people want to embrace that.
Step back a little bit and let our listeners, and those of you that don't know, you can view us as well on podcasts, on Apple or Spotify,
and YouTube is a great spot too.
So you can actually see all of this. You don't have to.
We
just
filmed
listen
the
to
whole
it.
thing. Yeah.
So before you go much further into talking about that acquisition, one of the things I think is so special that probably only a few of us know is that the Lord had created an opportunity for you to write a pretty large check at the end of the year last year, and kind of was out of your comfort zone. But we just believed that the Lord had brought that opportunity our way for a reason. So we stepped out on faith and wrote the check.
I think it was a test in a way, because we're very charitable, and we try to give to things and support the community, and we do that a lot. But this was a larger than normal check, and something that we believed in, but it was just a bigger deal. And I remember us talking about that, and I was a little hesitant to do that. And just to be honest with you, I probably wasn't out. I was hesitant with it, but I felt like with all the blessings that we've been given in our career and our lives, that it was a test, God, to say, do you trust me with different things? Are you willing, if I'm going to give to you, are you going to give back? And so I told Vickie, yes, I don't know if I don't do this, I don't know how we could continue to be blessed. So I said, I'm going to do it. So we wrote the check, and it was a great thing, and enjoyed all of the opportunities that came from that. But probably about 7 or 10 days after that, this opportunity came up that we weren't expecting on the Valley View purchase, and the process that it just, when everything, all the stars align and everything falls in place. This was, out of our whole career, this opportunity for growth was the smoothest and easiest, and
so we knew that really.
I don't feel like, I think that was God saying, you give to me, and what you think is a big deal, I'm going to give you something even bigger.
Absolutely.
Because I heard something on social media the other day that kind of feeds into this. As a Christian entrepreneur, on the topic of tithing, it says something along the lines of, if you give God his 10%, he will supercharge that other 90.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's just that's an understatement, because honestly, we people say, what's your plans with your growth wise? We have 5 buildings, and I'm happy with that. But never really saw a 6th one, at least in this manner. So we stepped on faith. We gave this gift. We believed in the cause, and then this opportunity comes, and he's right. It's just supercharged. It was 108 more beds in our town. in a building that used to refer to us. Now it's part of our family, and the process. And you know, I don't want to go into all, but how it was funded, I couldn't have asked for a better situation to where we got such a great opportunity for growth. At just structuring of the deal was, if you could have written something and said, "This is my ideal situation," it was better than that. You know, and I you know, and just everything worked out.
So I think that's been the highlight of your.
It's for this year. It's, well, maybe even for the last 5 years. I think that deal for me. I mean, I'm a deal junkie. I love when these opportunities come, trying to make those things work. And this just everything fell in line. And then, you know, when we had the meetings with the families and the residents, and they were so wanting us to be there, you know, it was great.
98-year-old lady reach out in one of the banquets that we did. We did several with them. And she let me know that she used to be our neighbor when we lived in Windsor Hills. And, of course, as soon as she said her name, I recognized her, and we shared some really fond memories of when Christopher was 4 years old, and, you know, he would be out in the yard and this, that, and the other. And she didn't seem nearly as concerned about him as she was back then. Right. But it was just really neat. There was so many in the room that we knew, so many in the room that we had contacts with their families or what have you. And so it is really exciting to have them part of our family now.
All right. So if you could have dinner with one entrepreneur, dead or alive, who would that be?
Elon Musk, for me. I just think that the fact that he steps out and does so many things outside the box. I recently took the plunge and got a Tesla.
Oh, my, yes, you did.
He's been talking to me years about doing that, and I'm like, I don't need one, and I
so
got
you're
one.
Connected to him in a way.
I had this bond with Elon. Me and him are buds now. But you know, so I just look at what he's done and all the things, you know, satellites and spaceships and going to space. You know, just the fact as a risk taker and what he's done, and ultimately how many people he's helped and the things that he's done. You know, just. To me, I would love to pick his brain, sit down with him, have dinner. He would be my choice.
So for me, it's no doubt Oprah Winfrey. The power of the spoken word is what I've admired so much about her. You know, she is just somebody that has, again, came from nothing and worked her way all the way up, and just used her mind in a way that's been so powerful for so many. And I love how she's taken the spoken word and turned it into a career for herself that has literally impacted the world, not just the United States. The things she's done with schools that she started in Africa, and the daughters that she calls her daughters, you know, that are being brought over to the United States and getting careers in the medical field that could change the world. It's just one little seed that has bloomed into a forest, and that's who I would love to have dinner with one day.
All right. So where do you see yourself in business in the next 5 to 10 years?
You probably say retired.
No,
yeah, you would. Probably.
I'm much too young to retire, honey. You're older than I am.
Yeah. One big year.
I think that, you know, still doing what we love to do. Again, we're not one to sit still and not one to rest when it comes to moving forward with careers. I would love to see us still moving forward in the senior living world, but just full everywhere. Our census being full, which means to us that we're impacting. So for me, it's about the level of impact. You know, are we still able to impact others? And as long as we continue that, then I think that we'll be right where we need to be.
Yeah, I'm sort of on the same page. I think the boomers are just hitting. You know, we've been in this marketplace planning all along to be that player to, you know, help the seniors of this area. And I think the relationship we have with, you know, Liberty and their growth and us being, you know, in the central part of those kind of things, to see the impact as to what that brings to where we are and whatever that may hold is exciting to me, because that's the driver. Then what we do is the senior living. And again, that back to the story of when you with people, when you're in the buildings and you see the impact that makes every day with people and the families and the stories, like even the Valley View story where they're was a gentleman that was there for like 6 months and really never got involved.
That's right. We are getting some great stories from there. The gentleman that didn't do activities and his family would drop him off and
Wasn't
he would want to go
engaged.
right to bed,
Yeah.
and now he's staying up later and trying to figure out what's going to happen the next day.
Yeah.
That just means you've got to, you're
Quality of
creating an
life.
impact for those people. And our programs that we spend hours at a table developing new and different ideas that seniors don't have to sit and be idle, that they can be so vital and so impactful themselves. I mean, we're teaching them to go out to the Humane Society, and they bake homemade doggy treats and drop them off at the Humane Society. They're donating their linens to the Humane Society. We're teaching them how to plug themselves in the community, where others their age are just going to sit down and die. And we said, no, we don't have time for that. We're going to get up from here and do what's best and do what makes you happy. So I think as long as we can keep that message going and we can really be impactful, I mean, the two of us will be
And
happy.
ultimately helping you guys cast the vision for what you guys want to do. I mean, the slate is wide open for how you want to see things go. It'd be exciting to see where you guys take it. You've watched what we've done our whole lives, and I think I'm excited to see where you guys decide and your
when our
piece with
story
that
ends, yours just begins.
That's exactly right.
So that leads into my final question. You just used the word impact. I've heard you guys talk about that word for many years, but as an entrepreneur, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
I just want to know that I've created so much opportunity, and everything was intentional that I did. And I want to know that there's been, the Jubilee Center, the princesses, the time that I spent with them and the program that I created just for them. I'd love to know that there was a little girl that, completed college and she went on to Capitol Hill and wrote, legislature and things for women that makes a difference. And, I'd love to know that some of the programs I've developed in the Christian school here for kids that have learning disabilities, that, how did that impact? How many children did that help, create opportunities in college and then go on and be successful business people themselves? Those are two of the programs that I'm most proud of. And then for senior citizens, I want to know that the programs that I created help bring families together, that they were connected at the time of life that was supposed to be the end of life, that enabled them to live that end of life as full as they possibly can. And then I want people to just remember that, I loved people and I loved making change happen, and that we've created this opportunity within our company that we can reach out to 501c3s and help them. It's not just about our 501c3, which is, of course, Miss Virginia Volunteer for Young Women and young teenagers, teaching them how to manifest themselves in a way that is pleasing to God, but also gives them opportunity for scholarships. I love to, know that I'm giving girls opportunities at a very young age, but also our Alzheimer's initiative, to not just find a cure, but to find a way right now to help families live with this awful disease with more funding and more opportunity, again, to connect, to slow the disease down. I like to know I've had an impact in some of that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just want to know that when you take your last breath, that you made a difference, that you've quality of life for the things that you've done, that, the things that you've done mattered and that you made a difference and they're measurable. I was blessed to be able to take care of both of my parents in our buildings in their last couple months of their lives. And I know for us as a business owner, when you're there as a caregiver for your family, it was a completely different experience, seeing how it all works on the other end. And that was impactful to me. And I know, looking at things through those glasses was different for me. And I know that all of our families, when these kind of things happen with their loved ones, their parents, their grandparents, whatever, nobody plans for this kind of stuff. It's not something. And so to try to make the quality of life for the senior, for helping the families with the challenges that they face, and just helping the quality of life in those end times. I think I'd just love to see that we made a difference that's measurable.
And ultimately, the three of you are our legacy. So
Yeah.
I hope that you can say that we've trained you well to do all the things that God's, entrusted into our care.
Well, I absolutely can. And I can speak on behalf of my brother and my sister as well. We're extremely proud of you both. Thank you for instilling a entrepreneurial mindset, a hard work ethic, and modeling those on a daily basis. I don't think the journey is anywhere near over, and I think that story is still being written. So we're excited to see where the next 5 to 10 years takes our entire family. But thank you for joining us today. Thank you for allowing me to ask these questions. It's been thrilling for me, and I hope our listeners have enjoyed this segment as well.
Again, if you ever get bored, if you want to bring me back, give me a bonus for coming on board. I'm always willing to come back and enlighten you all some.
All right, honey. We'll have you back.
Thanks.
And Mom, as always, I know you like to end each show with one of your famous quotes. So take it away.
Okay, for all y'all's listening to all the questions and answers, thank you so much for joining us through these last few episodes. You're entering a new season where everything will start to go your way. It's your time. You had enough lessons, you did the work, you overcome so much. You believed even when it was hard. You never gave up, you pushed through it all. Now it's your turn. Receive it in a major way. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.